Hello, and welcome to Biblical Scrolls, where we take a deeper dive into the hard to interpret, the obscure, or even the misinterpreted passages of Scripture. We will also look at apocryphal and pseudepigraphal texts and other historical manuscripts. We'll be using a variety of sources, so if you're committed to just one version of the Bible, this channel may not be for you. Now let's dig into today's passage. Today's passage is Exodus 21, 1-6. We're going to read that in the ESV. It says, "Now these are the rules that you shall set before them. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go out free, for nothing. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door or the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall be his slave forever." Well, this strange passage, at least strange to Gentiles, is referring to the details around releasing a slave after 7 years of service. The Hebrew word translated God in verse 6 is Elohim. While Elohim is plural in its formation, its meaning in the Old Testament is usually singular, and it frequently refers to the God of Israel. The simplest reading here is that the master and slave perform this ceremony with the earlobe punching in the sight of God, Yahweh, in a similar fashion as a wedding ceremony is performed to be witnessed by God and the wedding guests. However, some argue that Elohim here is plural in meaning as well, in order to find scriptural warrant for this idea that Israel's elders and judges were present at the ceremony, and thus that those men could have been called Elohim. The proof text of this is Psalm 82, arguing that the Elohim of Yahweh's council mentioned in verse 1 are really just men, not divine beings. However, neither judges or elders are found in Exodus 21. The Old Testament never uses the term Elohim for human leaders anywhere else. Many presume that Exodus 18 refers to the elders as Elohim, but the text never makes that equation. Elohim there is a singular and refers to Yahweh. So in reference to Exodus 21:6, is indeed plural, what gods does the Israelite law refer to? The most likely answer is the teraphim, which were household figurines likely of one's deceased ancestors. The disembodied human dead can and are referred to as Elohim, as they are now part of the spirit realm. In Genesis 31, Rachel takes her father Laban's teraphim when fleeing Haran with Jacob. David also had teraphim in his house. In 1 Samuel 19. When Saul went to the witch of Endor in 1 Samuel 28, Samuel is described as Elohim when his spirit comes up in 1 Samuel 28, verse 13. So these Elohim, or disembodied dead, are represented by these teraphim figurines. The existence of them is unclear and may have varied by culture, but they could point to ancestor worship. But they could have served a similar purpose to modern remembrance of a dead today. Bereaved people leave flowers or other items of intimate connection at gravesides, like jewelry or pictures. So this could likely be a way of remembering the dead loved ones by these handmade figurines. So when a slave wants to join the household out of love for his master, as in Exodus 21, it would have been entirely appropriate for him to appear before the household ancestors, the Elohim. Failure to do so would have been disrespectful to the dead. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up. The topics on this channel are difficult and sometimes there's a difference of opinions, but that's okay. Be blessed, be encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video.